welcome back. My name is Stephanie and this is Lindy Stitches, where I talk about cross stitch. I design under the name Lindy Stitches. I design cross stitch patterns. You can find my work at lindystitches.com. I hope y'all had a fantastic Christmas. I'm here today for my 2019 wrap up, and I hope that I just exuberate complete and utter gratitude and joy in this video, because looking back, this year has been mind-blowing, completely mind-blowing. So recently I used my little StitchCon journal to go back and just, I'm not a great record keeper, counter, I just keep working on the next thing, and I don't stop to reflect, but reflecting is very valuable. So I went back and I made a spread for each year of the designs I released for Lindy Stitches, and then the things I finished for my personal stitching, and it was very enlightening. I started my business in 2015, so Lindy Stitches is 4 years old, and it's kind of like the journey. I hate when people say the word journey. I don't know why. I have these quirks about words, and journey. I feel like it's overused, but it has been a journey. And this year, I just feel like Lindy Stitches exploded, but it was because of, and I was glad I went all the way back to the beginning, it was because I started, and it was because I kept working and kept working and kept releasing and adjusting and releasing and adjusting. And so when you go back to 2015, you won't find a lot of those patterns in my shop for sale anymore, and that is because they weren't any good. No, I mean, I've just grown, and I've gotten better, and I hope that when I do my wrap-up video for next year, I will say, 2020 Lindy Stitches is way better than 2019 Lindy Stitches. Onwards and upwards. So in this video, I'm going to show you the things that I finished for my business. I'm going to show you the things I finished this year in my personal stitching, and that includes dimensions kits and a long dog sampler piece and all sorts of things. I'm going to kind of go fast because I feel like you've seen all this stuff before. I really, really like people's wrap-up videos. And I am a New Year enthusiast, and so I'm doing this because I think you'll enjoy it, but I don't want to wear you out and show you the same things that I've already shown you and blah, 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 and say the exact same sentences that I've said before. So I'm going to go quick, and probably the quickest part, or I'm going to move the fastest pace through my Lindy Stitches releases, because there's 24 of them. Now some of them are freebies, so if I say it's a freebie, in the doobly-doo, you'll find the link, okay? You can have it. So, first section is Lindy Stitches. Second section is personal finishes. I'll really, really fast, because you just saw them, show you the WIPs that I'm bringing into 2020. I'll talk about things that are upcoming releases, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about my personal New Year's goals, in my personal life. We'll see. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, here's the first thing that I released in 2019. It is called 3 Snows. This was the beginning of my Weather Proverb series in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So in all of the 4 issues in 2019, I had one of these little pillows with a seasonal weather proverb on it, and it was a fun series to do. I was grateful for the opportunity. These will be coming out next year, just as individual releases from me. Second thing, No Notion pin cushion. This is a freebie, link down below. It has a Jane Austen quote on it. I have no notion of loving people by halves. And I finished mine as a cute little pin cushion. My first Nashville happened. And I have been so busy since that happened that I kind of forgot what a big deal it was. It was a huge deal for me, personally, and for Lindy Stitches. I know that doesn't really make sense because I am Lindy Stitches, but it's kind of strange when you own your own business. It's something that you created, and yet it's like its own entity outside of yourself, even though you made it and you run it. Not making any sense. Philosophy of business with stuff. Nashville was huge, and it was the reason why I had so many opportunities throughout the year and why I was so busy. And I have grown. I've grown personally. I've grown skills that I think were dormant because they weren't being necessarily used raising children. You need a lot of skills when you raise children, but not necessarily sales. I'm trying to sell them on many things they don't always buy, you know, like cleaning your room. Back to Nashville. It was a huge deal. Here's what I released at Nashville. This is the Peacock Keeper. I also released Penelope's Pin Cushion. That was a limited edition kit. A Mother's Heart. And that is all I have with me. I'm going to be inserting some pictures. I won't leave them up for an extraordinary amount of time, so if you want to see them, look on over. Here is Except Grandma's. And here is Bunny Lace Trio. I also released a sticker plate set. You get 10 in a package, and I have packaged hours and hours of stickers. You guys love them, and I'm thankful that you do. Here's what my sticker plates look like. So after Nashville, I released my May bird sampler, which was Stars Bright. And here's what that looks like. Like I said in my last video, I'm planning on hopefully always releasing some sort of sweet bird sampler in May, because Birds to the Boughs kind of changed my life, and I think May is a good time to release bird samplers. Alright, my patriotic pieces this year were Uncle Sam's Rickshaw, and A Stitch for Sweet Freedom. My next release in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher Weather Proverbs series was Cut Your Thistles, a sweet little piece with bees and thistles, and these were so fun to stitch, as well as the scissors. I don't know, just like the variegated threads I used for this piece were really fun. I mean, this color is just luscious. So far, here's the series. You're gonna laugh at the next pillow. I can't wait to show it to you. Laugh at me. My next freebie I handed out at StitchCon, and it was this little pattern called Turtley Lovable. It's just a little scissor fob. I haven't shown this on my channel before. I don't have a link for this one. I give it away I made postcards, and I give them away if you make an order, but maybe not necessarily. I might put a different freebie in. So if you'd like this pattern and you make an order from me, just leave me a note. I'll stick it in your order and send it on your way. But this Turtley Lovable. I've already had requests to do seasonal turtles holding different things. Because we love our seasonal stitching, don't we? Okay. Which brings me to another first. StitchCon was my first stitching retreat. And it was so fun. And I can't wait for StitchCon 2020. My next freebie will be linked down below. It was Little Urn of Horrors. I don't have a model for that one, but plenty of people have stitched it on Instagram. If you want to look at my account, you can find some models there. Just a fun freebie I did in conjunction with a Reddit interview that I did. So the link will be down below. My next seasonal proverb piece that came out in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher was this one. It's called No Good for Man Nor Beast. Now, it looks just like the other ones, right? No, it doesn't. I am still learning important designer lessons, and sometimes it's a bit embarrassing. But I never showed this to anyone. I did mention in my entry for the magazine for this pillow that because I used a different manufacturer's fabric, it turns out bigger than the other pillows. And so if you want them all the same size, which it doesn't really matter because you're not going to display all the seasons at once, but if you wanted them all the same size, you had to pick a Picture This Plus fabric because the rest of the series is on Picture This Plus, and this is Weeks Dye Works. Now, I will just be completely honest and say Weeks Dye Works fabric for me in the lower counts. Now, I'm not using 40 count yet or higher. I'm using 35 and below, 36 and below. Weeks has been very inconsistent for me in that when you get it, it is not the count that it says it is. And so I learned an important lesson, and that was that I absolutely have to check the stitch count, especially if it's something that I've designed, and that I'm wanting to be a certain size. Lesson learned, giant cow pillow. Another magazine release was this year's Just Cross Stitch Christmas ornament issue. This is Cats Love Christmas, and it is a sweet little stitch, and I'll stick it on the tree. Very crookedly. Okay, in the fall was awesome. The fall was amazing, and the biggest reason for that was Emily's house, which looks like this. If you remember, I had Emily C pick the color palette for that sampler, and then I designed it with her in mind, and Emily's house was an amazing ride. It was awesome, thank you. I also released at the same time Ex-Schoolfriend, which I knew that the pattern is corkedy. I mean, it's weird. I knew it was weird. I love it. I released it anyway. It didn't sell very well. I think people are intimidated by her beauty. I don't know. Here's what that looks like. I also released Edgar Scissor Bird. Here's mine. I keep the weird ones because I like the weird ones, and I kept this one because, I keep one at a time. Like, I pick my favorite, and then eventually that one gets replaced. So this is my current Edgar Scissor Bird. He has a weird spot on his behind, and he looks like he's wearing a scarf. So, and Dan was kept busy making scissor birds out the wazoo. So that was great. Okay, moving on to Christmas. I released this as a freebie, Sprinkle Christmas Kindness. That will be linked down below. For Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher, I released Bright Christmas. And again, this one's a picture of this plus. Yeah. Always learning, always improving. In my shop, I released stocking stuffers. Here is the box of the pair. This is the gray swan. It also comes with a black swan, which looks like this. As well as my first drum, Merry Manatees, looks like this. God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and Rooftop Cocoa Shop. That amazingly wraps up all my new releases for the year. And if you count my freebies and the magazine pieces that I just showed you, that is 24 releases, which I think is pretty on target. I'm proud of that number. 24. That's a lot. At least that's what I think is a lot at this point in the journey. It's me. I had to come back and add this clip that I have model stitchers, and they are the lifeblood of my business, and I am so thankful for them. And so I just want to say to Lori and Pam and Carrie and Chris, thank you for every stitch. Still wearing this Christmas sweater. Okay, here are my personal projects. I am about half and half. Half of them I have fully finished. Half of them are in my pile of glory in the closet. You can't hit the tripod with your massive tail. Thank you. So here we go. Here is Autumn Cat Sampler. If you haven't tried lacing and you are interested in how I lace my pieces, you can see me lace this in one of my videos. It's called Lace With Me. I love this one, and it's very lovely to bring out in the fall. If you are interested in, I'm going through so much. If you're interested in where do I get that pattern, or I didn't say who it was by, or what it was stitched on, etc., feel free to message me or look down below or back in my videos from this year and get the details. This is Autumn Cat Sampler by Cooler Design Studio. Next I will show you the pin cushions I finished. Here is Bouquet 1813 by Samplers Not Forgotten. This was a market release in conjunction with the English Garden Sampler, which is a huge piece, and this just has just a few pieces in it. This comes as a kit, and it is so much fun. Highly recommend it. I love it. So classy looking. Prim Turkey by Joyce Reed Folk Art. I just showed you this one. Stitch or Die by Beth Twist at Heartstring Samplery. This was a super fun stitch. I did it twice because I'm covetous, and I stitched it for someone else and then was like, I don't want to give it away. Gotta stitch it again. Beautiful. Eye of Newt by Nicole Franklin of Kanikis. I finished T is for Turkey by Heartstring Samplery. The piles. And of course I just showed you this. I finished up Bag Ladies. This is a kit by Sunset that you can get for like $10 on eBay. I started this Mania last year and finished it Mania this year via my own method of Mania, which was to do one cat in a bag every week. And if I finished that before the week was over, I got a new start. So I did start 5 new things by forcing myself through Bag Ladies. It was a pleasure to stitch. It was just kind of lingering, and wanted to get through it because it's beautiful. Okay, now this is my pile that stays in the closet, and I'm just gonna flip up, and if it's not from this year, I'll let you know, but a lot of this stuff is from this year. This is the Owl and the Pussycat from Prairie Schooler. It's not from this year, it's old. Okay, this is Skinny Wolf Farm by Barbara Anna, and this probably was my most enjoyable stitch of the year. I don't really even know why, it was just so much fun. Here's Moon and Spider Apple Cider by Needlework Press, and it is done. You can't really see the Krennic moon, can you? Proudest finish definitely was Long Dog Sampler's Le Brie de No from the out of print book. I absolutely love this, and I am going to get this professionally framed, hopefully sometime soon. Best School Friends by Teresa Kogut. So cute. Okay, here's Song of Solomon Ship Sampler. It's been lingering in the closet. It's still there. I have feels about this piece. I just have feels. I did finish this year. This is a vintage Family Circle Crewel kit, I think just called Poppies, and the reason I haven't fully finished this, either as a pillow, because I think it would make a really cute pillow on my bed, or as a framed piece, is because it has a lot of puckering, and I don't know how much like a good tight lacing would do for it. And I'm just afraid, I just really don't know what to do with it, because I feel like even if I lace it and you can still see the puckering, I'm afraid that's just going to get on my nerves. But it's not doing me any favors hanging in the closet. And then I have my Gigantor and a Forest Grew, which has unfortunately also been languishing. So I think that was all my finishes for the year. That gave me 12 finishes, and you could see that about half of them were fully finished, and half of them are in the closet. Welcome to section 3. These are all the WIPs that I'm bringing into 2020. These are all my works in progress. I don't have any shoved under the bed or hidden away in a drawer. These are all the things that I'm working on, and I am hopefully actively working on, although this first one, I really have not given it hardly any attention this year. I'm going to go super fast because you've seen most of these recently. This is Red Troublemakers by RTO. I am anxious to get back to this because I've been watching some Flosstubers who do full coverage, and I don't know, it's just like appealing to me all over again. That's where I am. Like barely nothing. 2 situational WIPs, one for the car, Follow Lala Llamas, and I have 2 half-baked llamas. Another situational WIP Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow is only going to be a Christmas project for me, 1 block every Christmas, and that's as far as I am. My chatelaine, hopefully, will see the end of the line. I just have 1 corner, 1 tree arch, beading, and I'll be done. I've got my Love to Keep Me Warm by Heartstring Samplery. I really want to work on this. That's how far I am. Walk Fast Sampler. This is a Lindy Stitches pattern. And I just have part of the border. So hopefully all of those will see a finish. I also have my May bird release for this coming year. That's what I've been focusing on, which is why those WIPs look exactly the same as when you saw them last. Alright, future plans. I have all of my Nashville things stitched. I don't have them all fully finished, but they're all ready to go, and I can't wait to show them to you. I am really excited about 2020, like stupid excited, because when I look back and see how awesome 2019 was, 2019 was really a transitional year for my family in that we had a lot of changes happen, mostly for the best, but they were hard to get used to, so it was a lot of transition. And I feel like now we can run, you know, we're through the transition now, full steam ahead, and I'm really excited. So as far as Lindy Stitches goes, I just, you know, I can't wait to show you the things that are coming out and the things that are being stitched. I'm doing another series for Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and it's going to be a tart series. I have the spring tart completed, and guys, it's real cute. It's seriously edible. I mean, it is. You're going to love it. Personal stitching, the last 4 months or so, I have really wanted to start something big, and different things have caught my interest, and I've refused to kind of pull the gun on some projects. I was really tempted by Amy Baruch and Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, with their ideas of starting Crown and Thistle in the new year. I'm so tempted. But that chatelaine, I feel, is standing in my way between me and starting something huge. So I'm hoping that I can finish my chatelaine, and then I can give in to start a huge project urges. I don't really have anything on my mind as far as like personal stitching goes, other than I want to start something big. Possibly Death by Cross Stitch. It's calling my name. And suddenly I'm wearing a man sweater in a different location. So I wrapped my video up, did everything. I talked about my own personal resolutions, which I think is the most interesting part of the video and the part I want to interact with you on. And I think I accidentally deleted it or something. I don't know. I've been floss tubing for 5 years. This coming May, it's going to be my 5-year floss tube anniversary, and these things still happen. So I'm gonna do it again. Only, I'm wearing my man sweater now because I was cold. And truth be told, if it's winter, I'm probably wearing my man sweater. Okay, so I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions because I love talking about goals and New Year's resolutions. It's one of my favorite topics. I think is interesting and really attractive to start a new year with hopeful ideas of how you want to change and improve. And I did go through this period of a couple years where I felt really discouraged about it because it is so cliche, right? It's so cliche that we make these grand ideas and then hardly any of us follow through. And I felt kind of depressed about that. Like, what's the point? I'm making the same goals all the time and they never come true and they always fizzle out. But I think a more balanced perspective on that is that I think there is progress. And every time you set a positive intention and you work toward that intention, I think even if it's like going up a hill, like even if you climb up 5 steps, I don't think you slide all the way back down to the bottom. I think that you're still, I think we're all messy, you know? And life is hard and it can be a real slog. I think goals are still good, and I think it's still good to be hopeful and try and believe that even if you only keep your goal for a certain amount of time, it was better to do that than to not set a goal at all. So let's look back at my 2019 resolutions. Now, I never firmly made any resolutions. I just wrote resolutions I'm pondering. So I don't know how serious I was about this. Number 1 was to use the cruise control more. I tend to go really fast, sometimes over the speed limit on the highway, go really fast, and then I just start thinking and daydreaming, and then I just go really slow. And if my husband is in the passenger seat, he's always like, "What are you doing?" Because it's annoying. So I resolved to use the cruise control more, and I think that I am in a better habit of doing that. I've been less, you know, as I go along. Here's Christmas kitty. As I go along the road. Do I use it all the time? Not really. But I'm more consistent about maintaining a consistent, safe speed. Less screen time was number 2. And this is one that I get frustrated about because I do feel like I'm continually resolving this and then failing. So moving on to number 3. 100 days of designing. I wanted to design for 100 days for at least 15 minutes during the day. And I did that consistently for probably about 30 days before I had to give up. I don't know that I necessarily had to give up, but it kind of felt like at that point that it had served its purpose. And I was going to Nashville, so it was like, what? I can't get up, and what? No. So that kind of fell to the wayside, but I'm so glad that I did it. It was really good for me. At the time, I needed to just like consistently be creative, and I have a lot of material now that either I've already pulled from or that I can pull from in the future. So that was really fun. Lose weight. I don't really want to comment on that one, but I know that all of you are sweet and you're going to be like, you're fine, you're beautiful. Well, the fact of the matter is that I don't want to say these words, but I'm a middle-aged woman and I eat like someone who really, really, really loves to eat. And my skinny girl metabolism is slowing down. But did I lose weight? Moving on. Stop dyeing my hair. I did it! I haven't dyed my hair since 2018, so I have had a whole year to grow out my lovely white hair. I started going white. You should be where people can see you. I started going white when I was like 24 or 25, so it was really early, and I felt like, come on, life, can I keep my hair color longer? So I have been dyeing my hair since then, and reasons. I just wanted to stop because it was a chore, and I never felt like the color looked right. And does your cat do this? He likes to bite my face. Not like mean, but he's all purry right now, and he wants to bite my face. That's how much he loves me. He wants to bite my face. So I did stop dyeing my hair. And I have a lot of white, especially on my crown. And man, that white hair, it has a mind of its own. But I'm trying to embrace it and just be all natural. So, yeah, good progress. Nice goals. Glad that I made them. Some things to still work on. Okay, so this year, what am I focusing on personally? So 2 things with the kids. Again, less tech, less screen time. I want to make a consistent habit of reading the Bible before we leave for school, because I think it's important, and I want to ground them in the truth, and we kind of let that fall to the wayside as we were going through this transition. They can get up 5 minutes earlier, and we can do that because it's important to me. And so far I've just recently started doing that. It's going really well, and I'm thankful that it just had been on my conscience that we hadn't been doing it, and it's good. Like, it's not good to ignore your conscience. I mean, it definitely puts a weight on your mind, and anyway. So for me too, personally, the first being, I need to get back to reading books. I feel like Flosstube, getting a smartphone, there's been a trifecta against my reading. Flosstube, smartphone, Frasier. Because it's so good. And it's such a good way to relax. And I have been with Frasier more often than I have been with books. And my reading has taken a huge plummet. Reading is important to me, but you wouldn't know it from my behavior from last year. So I need to read books again. And the other one would be to be more consistent at studying my American Sign Language. I interpret every week, so I'm signing every week, but I've gotten to the point where I can be on cruise control. So 2019, I was on cruise control, and I was not actively working on my signing. I was interpreting, and I didn't really need to add to my vocabulary to be able to do that, but it's not good to be lazy. I think especially when you're learning a new language, I need to keep adding to my vocabulary. Are you going to sleep? I need to keep adding my vocabulary and be persistent because it is important to me. And truth be told, if I'm going to be doing a good job, I can't be lazy. So those are my ideas. Again, resolutions I'm pondering. Maybe that's a safer way to make resolutions. What? We all have 1,000 ways that we can improve, and I love talking about resolutions. And so if you would like to share your resolutions down below, I would love that. I love all your comments, but especially this. I used to have a party with my friends. We would sit around and talk about our New Year's resolutions. It was really fun. It sounds dorky, but just something so lovely and hopeful about New Year's. I love it. So, back to the main video. But hey, I like this setup. We have come to the last poem of 2019. I hope you will listen to it. It is called Twelfth Night. It is from the book I read to you last time, Christmas Poems. It's about putting away Christmas. It is by Phyllis McGinley. My husband found this and read it to me first. Now I'm going to read it to you. Down from the window, take the withered holly. Feed the torn tissue to the literal blaze. Now, at last, are come the melancholy, anticlimactic days. Here in the light of morning, hard, unvarnished, let us with haste dismantle the tired tree of ornaments, a trifle chipped and tarnished, pretend we do not see. How all the rooms seem shabbier and meaner, and the tired house a little less than snug. Fold up the tinsel, run the vacuum cleaner over the littered rug. Nothing is left. The postman passes by now, bearing no gifts, no kind or seasonal word. The icebox yields no wing, no nibbled thigh now, from any holiday bird. Sharp in the streets the north wind plagues its betters, while Christmas snow to gutters is consigned. Nothing remains except the thank you letters, most tedious to the mind, and the gilt gadget duplicated, which is marked for exchange at Abercrombie Fitch's. Happy New Year, friends. You can find me at lindystitches.com, as ever on Instagram, sometimes on Facebook. I will chat with you there. See you in 2020.